Thank you so much, Dr. Hamid, for this presentation about heritage in Basra. Now, we have many questions about your presentation. Professor Jamal, you are still there? You are with us, please?
Yes, I'm here, Dr. Sabih, but I don't want to be the one that keep asking the questions. I think there is some questions in the chat box. And I wish to congratulate the fantastic talks by all speakers. It has been a really wonderful session, to be honest, and original research. But I will say at the end, and I will have maybe one question or two, but just I will leave it to the end. Please, you can have a look at the Dr. Omar.
We have many questions in chat box.
Yes.
The first one for Dr. Salahuddin. Dr. Salahuddin, you are still with us?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You read the question, please?
Yeah, actually, yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Omar, for this question. I love it. It means a lot to me. Yes, you are right, sir. We have plans in the region to deal with such conditions, but we are facing two difficulties. The first one is this area is now under the World Heritage Sites, belong to UNESCO. They have very strict regulations in order to renovate any part of the citadel. That was the first challenge. The second one, the condition on the citadel is not quite fine to live on it. So because right now there's a plan to supply infrastructures, services, other things to the, let me say, the old houses in order to be useful for living. If we succeed in the first part, we should go to the second part, which is the UNESCO regulation. If they let us to, because I know some families, they have own units on the citadel and they refuse to give compensations to the KRG. They wanted to live on the citadel, and this is very good, very attractive point for us. But they should apply UNESCO regulation plus the, as a government, we should supply the infrastructure and network for this area. Thank you very much. Again, Dr. Umar, it was very kind of you to raise this issue.
Thank you, Dr. Salahuddin, for your answer, and thank you, Dr. Umar, for your important question. Please, Dr. Alina, Dr. Wahda, are you with us, please?
Yes, Dr. Sabih. Yes, we are here.
Yeah. You read the question from Dr. Umar's side, please, Dr. Wahda?
Yes, we read it. As we mentioned in our first slide, that our statement for the reconstruction of the city is looking for its unique identity, revive its unique identity. We believe, I believe, Dr. Lina with me, we believe that Mosul unique identity comes from its cultural diversity. As we present in the historical presentation, this city is different from other cities in Iraq, that it was inhabited by different cultures, and they were all living in the same castle. They were connected together. Although they were living in enclaves, but they were very connected, and their cultures was affected by each other. So thinking of rebuilding the city, starting from urban design, because we are urban designers, starting from urban design, we believe that we must rebuild the urban fabric by considering the monuments of each culture, and how can we make spaces, open dialogues between these cultures. By these monuments, they present the cultures. I don't know, Dr. Lina, if she has also something to add.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Yes, I agree with Dr. Wahda. The last part of the question is, I just read it. It is part of your research work to explore reviving the social heritage of the city. Yes, we did that, as Dr. Wahda mentioned, but if not, no, we focus on reviving the relationship between minority and majority, and this is the point. As a Christian, if everything I mean, if we like enhance the relationship between these ethnicities and religions and all these different background in the city, that encouraged me to go back. I wasn't born in Mosul, but the whole family and my extended family, they were all living in Mosul. So it's still my dream to visit Mosul every single year, every single holiday. I had great memories there. So why not? If we rebuild this relationship between inside the community, that will encourage us to go back and build churches, mosques, and maybe we can find a new center that has a common value for Muslims, Christian, Yazidis. For example, Jonah or like Jonah or Yonan Mosque or Nabi Yunus Mosque, we called it Yonan, prophet. Muslim called it Nabi Yunus, and Jewish or in English they call it Jonah. This is a great place to be a common center for all of us. We might have celebrate his birthday or celebrate any events that we have together in the same place. That's what I'm talking about. Not only rebuild or rehabilitate, but rehabilitate the relationship with people. And that's it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alina. Thank you so much, Dr. Wahda. Please, Dr. Omar, would you like to add anything? What do you think?
No, Dr. Sabih, thank you very much. That was very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have another question in the chat box or only this?
I have a question, Dr. Sabih, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
First, I wish to congratulate everybody and all the speakers in this session. Very informative, starting with Dr. Salahuddin and his fantastic analysis and critical review and appraisal of the traditional and vernacular architecture of Erbil, followed by the wonderful presentation by Dr. Wadha and Dr. Lina, Dr. Zahir's fantastic work, and latest by Dr. Hamid Tamimi. I think they are all enjoyable, fantastic case studies. It's very hard to really pick one thing to ask, but I will have to ask about Mosul if they allow me. And Dr. Wadha and Dr. Lina's fantastic work, because I have been working Mosul for some time now, and just perhaps Dr. Omar. One interesting thing about Mosul is just the complexity of that heritage. And what I really appreciated, Dr. Wahda and Dr. Lina's is just moving out of this narrative about just the current conflict and looking back into the history of the city. Because when we have been discussing, we are working on a project on post-war Mosul and how to preserve and understand its urban fabric. And looking at your analysis of the spatial transformation and morphology throughout the 20th century, looking back at how the heritage and traditional fabric has been already impacted by cutting through long roads, and the destruction has been there for a long time. I think this takes always a critical mind and a deep rooted research, just really to move out of this political agenda that is really dominate our views now about Mosul. Yes, it's important about the preservation of the current city and how to preserve its spirit for the future. But we need to look back at long period, because the history of cities are always determined by those constant change and destructions and morphological changes over time. And this hence will be my question, that you have looked back at the history of the city and how its urban fabric before Daesh has already been impacted and changed and already created some isolated territories. And there was already working underway with this council and the city. Now you have another challenge about the destruction of Mosul. What do you take of the historic process that happened before Daesh and look at how this could be really viewed into the lessons learned in the future? So if you are now looking back again on the maps, on the analysis that you have done in 2007 and 8, what remains now after that current conflict? What could be perhaps more efficient and effective way of preserving that fabric?
Thank you, Doctor, for your questions. At the start, we was thinking of a creative reconstruction. As we present, the urban fabric is very complicated, is very organic, and is very enclaves. It started like Dr. Lina, when she presented, it started as enclaves for religions. So it was very difficult to make a proposal for development. As I mentioned, because it is a private properties, one of the main problems, as I presented two development proposals, but I didn't discuss them. But the main problem with them, we can't work with any one of them because they were giving development proposals depending of changing properties, changing land use. These are private properties. We don't have this vision or this administration to change the properties or to ask people or to force them to leave their properties. So our vision is, I believe, in creative reconstruction, as we have the chance that we have lost some of this fabric. So these open spaces, we can make them places for reconnecting the fabric, creating a social community, maybe open spaces. And of course, to get the support and investments, we need to rely on these diversity in cultures, like some organization or authorities are going to rebuild the mosques, others are going to build the churches. So we are thinking of a way to organize these different approaches in a creative reconstructing, looking at the rebuilding of the fabric from inside. Of course, depending on the historical axis, historical background, and traditional monument, historical monument. It's many axes. Our projects working on many axes. We hope we can reach something on the final of the presentation. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you very much. That's really helpful answer. And the more that you dig deeper, the more you learn a lot about the complexity and the richness of Mosul fabric and community. It's just a fantastic place to operate. Just one final thing about Basra and Dr. Hamid Tamimi is just fantastic, rich heritage as well. Just it's amazing. And I hope really that we can really read more about his paper once it is really reached a final conclusion to reflect on such wealth and richness of Basra as a case study. And definitely the contrast between Basra and the way that has been perhaps overtaken by such kind of the contrast between the tradition and history and the new development is just startling. It's really a strong transformation. And I know Erbil itself has been through similar changes, and I can see Dr. Salahuddin nodding. It's just, I think the stories is every city in Iraq at the moment. It's just the contrast between the rich history and traditions and the vast investments that going into a kind of transforming them at a fast speed. And I know it's very hard to really operate in such conditions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Jamal. Yes, you are right. This is the problem that most of the city in Iraq facing this problem, and the transformation is very huge between the past and the new, the modern now and the current situation. And Basra was the most city, as I mentioned in my presentation, because I don't present many things. Of course, I can't present all things because it's just 20 minutes. But there is many buildings, there is many new styles, there is many different. Also, not just as I mentioned, the oil industry, one of the main challenge, because all the area, all the land reserving for the future oil industry. So that's make the pressure for the city center, which is included the heritage building, and many buildings on the city center, especially it is very expensive land now, so it's demolished, and the awareness of the society is lack, and there is a need for the rising the awareness society, because Unfortunately, they don't care about the heritage. They don't care about the traditional building. They don't care about the identity and the originality for the architectural style in the Basra city. So, especially the investment now, there is no regulation to control the investment company, and there is no rules, for example, to control the development of the city. And this is the main problem. And there is also intersection between the local government and the central government in Baghdad. And this is the main problem of the city of the Basra. Thank you so much.
Thank you a lot. That's all from me, Dr. Sabih, and thanks also to everybody on both panels. Well done, everyone. Just fantastic presentations.
Thank you, Dr. Jamal, and let me begin by thanking you, Professor Jamal, for your stewardship of our conference, and dear presenters and colleagues. Thank you so much for the excellent presentations you have just provided. This will help us to plan what you need to next, both here in Iraq and the Engage network. Sorry, I hope we will meet again soon for more collaboration and advanced work. And dear guests and listeners, we hope that you have had a great time and informative sessions. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dr. Sabih. Thanks all speakers, and the Iraqi Hub has been always at the forefront of the Engage network by the first workshop, and always never stopped bringing innovative researchers, visions, and fantastic work in a country that we all will celebrate and learn from its history on a daily basis. I think we have seen today from the talks in the Iraqi Hub just a fantastic range of presentations and case studies, and we look forward for those case studies to develop into an actual but important part of the Engage paper series, and then share all the studies with everybody and become important part of our database. I would like to thank Dr. Sabih above all for coordinating the fantastic work of the Iraqi Hub coordination and the never stop hard work of Dr. Ala Mari and Dr. Durgham Al-Ubaidi, important and wonderful team effort, working day and night for a long period. You are a great asset to the academia in Iraq, and you are a great asset to the Engage network. Thank you ever so much. And before closing today, I would like to remind you that tomorrow morning we'll be starting in Tunis, in Tunisia, with 2 sessions at 9 o'clock. We'll start at 9 o'clock with 10 papers that will cover the whole Maghreb area, covering mostly Tunisia, and we have papers on Algeria and Morocco. A range of case studies, and I'm sure that there will be a lot of connections, a lot of overlaps, a lot of lessons to be learned. So please watch the space, visit the Engage Network Facebook page tomorrow early morning, and we'll be live from 9 o'clock again. Should you have any questions or follow up on the news, please do get in touch with Dr. Sabih, Dr. Ala, Dr. Durgham, or keep in touch with us on the Facebook or on Twitter if you need it. Dr. Sabih, that's back to you if you would like to close the session.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, and see you soon in the next conference. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening and restful one, and see you in the morning. Take care.